I got the walk, there's a longboard walk. I know the talk, the longboard talk.
And we're live on Facebook. Welcome to Oz Longboarding episode 19, and it's a fun one for us tonight. We've got Paul White all the way from Agnes Water in central Queensland. It feels like North Queensland, but it's only halfway up that massive state in the top right of Australia. And joining us on the panel to have a chat with Whitey about the Agnes Water Classic. I'm Weeksy from Western Australia. It's been a great week here in WA with horrible winds, not conducive for surfing where I live, so I've been getting some work done. How's things been on the Sunshine Coast this week, Kira Molnar?
Yeah, pretty nice. We've had a little bit of rain and not that many waves about. It's actually gone pretty flat, but the ocean's been offshore and it's been good for boating and there's been heaps of whales around.
It's always good when the whales come floating through, so long as they're not chomp marks out of them like we've had on my back beach here just lately, and a big walrus as well to create a bit of confusion. Lots of action and activity going on, the men in grey out there in the ocean, but what about the men in black? Have you been getting the wetsuit on, Nathan Riverland down in Victoria?
Hey guys, good to have Whitey on this week. Yeah, the waves it's actually been pretty crap down here in Victoria this week. Back to being really cold. We had an amazing run of waves and weather the last probably 2-3 weeks. Really uncharacteristically warm for Victoria for this time of year. But yeah, been onshore winds most of this week and the weekend's looking really windy as well. So it's going to have to be those protected corners this weekend.
Nice one. Yeah, I'm hoping to get wet. It's been easterly all day today, so things should have smoothed off a bit. But it must be warm on the Gold Coast as well, because just before we went to Airshaw, McEwen was on his camera with no shirt on. You missed out, ladies. But what's the beach been looking like, Shawnee?
Mate, early on in the week, the Southern Points were lumpy. Sort of we had traditional winds for this time of year, which are the dreaded nor'westers. Yesterday it backed off a bit and cleaned up, and this morning, although the swell was really small, it was really clean. Just beautiful beach day, great for the school holidays.
Oh, so you got holidays started there already. Ours kick off on Monday, I believe, so prepare to get flogged by the kids. King of the kids from Agnes Water, all the way up there, up past Bundaberg and near the historic town of 1770, where Captain Cook bumped into the coast apparently at some point. They call him Whitey. Welcome to Oz Longboarding, Mr. Paul White. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm very good, and thanks for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, mate. You're looking like you're got a bit of a tan going on there. Have you been getting some waves up your way? Can you hear me? Oh, he might be blanking out again. Have you been getting any surf up there at Agnes Water?
Yes.
Yes, he's a man of few words. So, obviously, mate, you've been, you haven't been there your whole life. Tell us your story.
Maybe a bit of an internet reception error there.
How are you going now, mate? Can you hear us? Looks like Whitey's freezing up. But we were lucky enough to get up to Agnes Water in March for the most recent, the 2020 version of the event, straight after the Noosa Festival of Surfing, and it was a great event this year round. Sean, how many times have you been up there before? Because obviously it's an annual event.
Mate, that was my first time up there, and for years, I mean, I can't remember how long I've heard about go to Agnes, and I keep going, no, there's no waves past Noosa. Yeah, sort of, and had never done it. And I tell you what, it's been probably the biggest mistake in my life, I think, not having gone up there much earlier in the piece, because, hey, fantastic time. And I couldn't believe the hospitality that was, we got from all the locals and that. And
Michael Coddy has been telling us for years that we have to get up there. He's been going back regularly. Kira, it's a bit closer to your neck of the woods, mate. I know you're up there this year for the Prologue, and then you sort of ducked up for a day trip and then disappeared again. It's a bit of a drive, but have you been up there before yourself?
Yeah, I have. I went up, not maybe the year before that, but the year before that. And yeah, it's always fun. I've never really got the waves and the point working, even though they were pumping this time. I just missed it, unfortunately. I had to go back home and get back to work. But yeah, I mean, it's like just on the cusp of being like, enough for a day trip sort of drive, and it's always fun. The vibes and the crowd there are definitely worth the drive up.
So I went up in a big motorhome and I was sort of filming and things, so I didn't really go in one straight line. But for anyone who's thinking of doing the trip, how long would that normally take, say, from Noosa to get up to Agnes there? It's sort of, is it in the sort of 3.5 to 5 hour range, or is it a bit worse than that?
Yeah, no, I think it's within the 4-ish hour range, like right in the middle there. I actually had Bianca Dutzen over from California. She actually won the event, which was cool. So I had company on the drive, which was really nice because she stayed with us for the festival, which was on just before. And so, yeah, definitely need company on the drive up because it's that little bit far. But yeah, around 4 hours, so it's not too bad.
And it's interesting what you say about the actual surf itself, and you just missed it because I believe it's, obviously it's a little bit fickle, shall we say, whether or not the waves are breaking right there in town at Agnes. But I don't know if the locals are going to love me too much, but there's a few other places you can surf around there, which vary and change on the tides. Then you've got the outer reefs. If you've got a friend with a boat, you can get out there as well. But the waves on the Friday and the Saturday, when that point started to fire, it looked beautiful from a surfer's point of view. But I really felt for you guys because, the Prologue Division was great that they managed to reshuffle it to make it so that a few of the competitors from Noosa could make their way up and just turn it into a one-day event. And you guys did an amazing job of making it look a lot of fun. But the surf was fairly challenging. It was pouring rain, but from a competition point of view, it had a really good vibe about it. Even like the show bags that got handed out and all the prizes that everyone got given. I mean, it's about the vibe, isn't it, when you go to those sort of comps?
Definitely, yeah. It was really fun. And like all the crew up there that sort of come down and watch on the beach, and even meeting and surfing with the locals from Agnes is really fun too, to get a little bit of insider knowledge. But yeah.
Well, we hope to see you back again next year. And the dates have been confirmed, and hopefully Whitey's now rubbed a couple of sticks together or whatever it is they do to get internet up there at Agnes. But are you back, Whitey?
Yeah, sorry about that. We're actually, the town's got so many people, it's overloaded. I don't know if it's having an overload on the reception or not, but it keeps cutting out from time to time. So I'm sorry about that.
I actually noticed today, Rocky put up a post of a picture of traffic in Agnes Water, and it was kind of like, whoa, look at this. A few crew in town, eh?
Yeah, there's no permanent rentals, and people are buying property, so it's really going ahead, eh? It's on the overload.
And how long have you been up there yourself?
18 years, going on 19 years I've been in Agnes, off and on.
And so where did you start out originally, mate? Give us the Paul White story as far as longboarding is concerned. How'd you get into longboarding, and where did that happen, and how'd you find your way up to Agnes?
I was originally from the Gold Coast in Southport, but I moved up a little bit north of here and always kept the surfing up. And then when I moved to here 18 years ago, there's days where it's very small, and I just wanted to keep surfing. So that's where the longboards come along, and then the passion and the love of it just grew from there. And I was riding shortboards and longboards off and on, and then I think in the last 5 years, the smallest board I've ridden is an 8-footer. So I'm pretty well loving my longboards, and it's a perfect point for it, as you've seen yourself.
Yeah, and I think Ray Gleave looked like he was having the most fun out of everybody during the surfs on his 11-footer or whatever it was he was out there on. Yeah.
Ray comes up, has a holiday once a year, and he's always got his 11. He's got a 13-footer too. He brings out when it's only like a foot and the point's feeling. So doing his thing, that Ray does.
Love watching him in the water. So I noticed the shirt behind you, mate. You got the Seawater T-shirt behind you there. Just run us through exactly, because it's only been a recent transition. This year, I think, is the first year that Seawater was running the event. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. It was originally run by CQ. A bunch of guys got together and originally ran the competition and got major sponsors from Sunrise and as well as Reef Beach Surf Shop. And then as years went by, around about 2011, something like that, it got handed over to Tide and Turn, and they ran it for a few years, probably right through to last year, like you said. But through that time frame, I come up with the idea with the boys that we should form our own incorporation and run the event ourselves, because we're basically running it, and you know, it's been a success. I think it's only going to grow, and Seawater was a good name he put together. Cheryl is the lady that most people see go around and do raffles, and she's been originally there since 1998, so she got the first letter in as C, and then myself, Whitey, and Alex is always the beach marshal, and T-Bone, and Adam and Rourke. So we put it all together, and it come to Seawater, and we thought, yeah, that's a pretty good name. So we've got a couple of events that we're going to run in the future. We've got another one in May around that Captain Cook that you were speaking before when he landed on 24. So in the festival time, they want us to run a surf competition. So when the tourists come, they can join in with the whole festival.
Yeah, cool. And I think it's great that it gives an opportunity for the local surfing community, the kids, to see some of the pros like Kira come up and compete, but and actually give them a chance to go and get in a contest rashi themselves. So I love that north of Fraser concept. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, well, Clyde and Wayne, they're like Grom from the Reef to Beach, and a couple of other lads, they got together, and you know, like the competition first started off just being a Saturday and a Sunday, and obviously it grew as time went by. But some of the local boys on their longboards, they would you know, they would pay their whatever it was back in them days. I think it was only like $35 to enter. And, you know, they'd be knocked out because all the lads from Sunny Coast and Goldie and all that would come up. And so the boys put it together, having an North of Fraser. You've got to have a residential address, North Fraser Island. So then the local boys have a little play, and it's become such a division, you know. Everyone wants the top one, the first prize, just to claim it. So it's become everyone's loving it, the North of Fraser. We even got singlets. You even get your own shirt in the event for North of Fraser.
I actually should have used my brain and wore one of my shirts. I've never got so many T-shirts at a competition in my life. So every division. So just give us quickly the breakdown of the different divisions. So starting with, of course, the pro loggers at the start of the event.
Yeah, well, the pro logger's been on my mind for a few years now. Like, it's always about, like, with the youth here in Agnes Water, like, a lot of them ride shortboards. But, you know, my figure was like, if we could get these pros up and these young kids on the beach could see the way longboarding surfs, you know, and then it'd push a few more into that longboarding place where, you know, we'd all love it, well, especially me, and I know you guys love the longboarding. So, you know, pro loggers here to stay. We gave it a crack last year. We didn't get a lot of entries, but as word of mouth goes on, I reckon it'll grow and grow as the years go by. Like, you know, first prize was $750 last year, and for women and men. And we're chasing our sponsors now. Things have been a little bit slow due to COVID, but the town's really healthy, so we should go pretty well for sponsorship. So we're going to go with the pro logger. That'll be the 16th, Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday, give us the lead day. Thursday's the North of Fraser, like we just talked about. And then Friday's got all your, like, amateur logger stuff. We've got the 10-foot stuff in there as well. And then we're going to go with the retro single fin event. And yeah, freestyle 8-footer. And then on Saturdays, all age divisions, and Sunday tops it off with all the finals.
And it's a great week of surfing, but I might just share a video. So we might show some footage from the Pro Logger Division. You can talk us through it. I did have a few of your fellow Seawater board members pull me aside and say, hey, Weeksy, how about if you don't show the drone footage from the good days? So I think we'll safely get away with the Pro Logger Division, but a few big names in amongst there. And Kira, unfortunately, making the mistake of bringing her biggest competitor with her. But we'll just this is the some highlights from the Pro Logger. I'll just run this in the background if you want to talk us through it. So it started off with some pretty overcast conditions, and can you see that?
I'm starting to get a little bit of that disconnection. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you, yeah. But maybe it's glitching out the system by trying to have the video run as well.
Glitching a little bit.
Yeah. Have you ever been up that far, Nate, in Queensland?
Yeah, I've been lucky to get up to Agnes twice. Beautiful place. I've never been before up until probably 5 years ago, and then definitely wanting to hopefully come up next year. Yeah, beautiful place. Relatively untouched still, which is the epic thing about it.
I thought it was great going down the beach there and just seeing the loggers taking over, and a lot of a big proportion of the local businesses are involved. Look at this chick, she's ripping. Who's that? That's Kira Molnar, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know, actually watching the footage back, Kira, I reckon you might have got ripped. I reckon you won through the heat where you got knocked. But, I might be a little bit biased. What wax are you using? It looks like you've got really good grip on your feet there.
This is the best.
There's Fenner the King, of course. Noosa legend. Fenner was a lot of fun and games as well. But yeah, just the level of support from the local businesses and community. And there's Will the King and Whitey sharing a heat. But it looks like beautiful blue skies there. And it literally was like a little patch of about an hour where it wasn't raining. That's the only time I could get the drone in the air. But beautiful setup. What do you like about it the most up there yourself, Nate? I really enjoyed. I was staying in the caravan park, which is just to the left of screen there, and I could just walk from my camper van motorhome thing to the water's edge. But didn't spend a lot of time in town because I was working the whole time. So maybe you could. You've probably got a bit more to share on that.
Did you ask me that or Whitey? Sorry.
Yeah, Nate, you mate.
I mean, yeah, I do. Like I was saying before, I just love how untouched the area is. I feel like there's so many places to kind of go and surf, and if you can explore around, you can definitely get some epic waves, and just the beaches and everything. The town and the people around there are just so beautiful and kind. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm definitely hoping to get up there next year because I feel like I still had a bit to explore around there, and I didn't get to see the point fully pumping. I only just kind of got to surf the beaches and a few of the other places. But yeah, I'm keen to get on that point, bro. It looks epic.
One day we'll time it right.
Yeah.
When it started to fire up, you could just. Me and Whitey are in the same division, and I was commentating at the event, but also competing. And I was desperate to get a heat up on the point, and Whitey had this glint in his eye, and I knew damn well he wasn't going to do it. I'm watching everyone else get waves, and then Whitey's like, no, we're going out front. And I had the shocker of a final. So good tactics there, Whitey. Well done, mate.
Yeah.
Now there's Luca Dope. Tell us a bit about her, because she's all over every T-shirt, the logo for the event, and there's the import that ended up taking out the Prologue Division.
Yeah, well, with Luca, we thought the timing was right because she was, she's been an Agnes basically all her life, and I remember when she first started surfing and she was on a shortboard, and I said, I paddled over to her one day and said, darling, that board don't suit you, you need a longboard. And basically from there she just started growing with a longboard to how we all know she is today. And just being inspiring for her age, we just thought because she's leaving, it was a perfect moment of a new era, and it was the Reef to Beach coming the Agnes water, so we just thought the timing was right. Put her on the shirt, she's leaving town, she's been a good inspiration for all the young kids to, watch her longboarding and, bring them all through. So that's what basically that was about.
A really smooth, controlled surfer as well, and she's very well spoken. Well, there's something about this younger generation. They all seem well educated, good manners, can surf really well. And she's a great little ambassador for the Yeppoon wave pool, which is just up the road as well. How long does it take to get from Agnes to Yeppoon? Because I could see people doing that as a surfing holiday, flying into the Gold Coast, drive up to Noosa or anywhere on the Sunshine Coast, leapfrog it up to Agnes, and then maybe hit Yeppoon to go in the plunger.
Yeah, from here to Agnes to Yeppoon is just under 3 hours. And Rockhampton obviously is to Yeppoon, the city close by. You can fly into Rocky as well, and Rockhampton, that's only 40 minutes to the wave pool, not even that, from Rockhampton Airport. So I'll say they'll get a lot of that happening too. When they do, or if they do, open it to the public, but it sounds like it's going down that road.
Well, I think the response online from the videos that they've put out has been incredible. I know Nev Hyman's posted a few videos lately, and obviously we've seen a few behind the scenes videos from one of the guys that works there, showed us a few videos on his camera, but the response has been huge. I think, I mean, as a concept to show other people how it works and to sell from it, I mean, that makes sense. But with it sitting there, it'd be a real shame, I think, if they don't open it up and let a few crew have a go.
Yeah, that's right. There's a board riders club up there, you know, called CQ Board Riders, and they run comps up Farnborough Beach. There's a little gap in the reef, and they drive up this beach to the very end, and they get the swell just sneaks in there. They're a little bit linked with the wave pool, and I was talking to the crew about running a longboard event up there, and maybe, I don't know how it'd be with the wave pool, but what an assurance would be, but it'd be nice to go, okay, there's no waves today, let's go to the wave pool because there's 2 flood out the front.
Oh, imagine having that as a backup venue. Well, I reckon something like that, you could actually like have day 1, you're going to surf the Mallow wave. Day 2, it's the, you know, fast nose riding wave. And then day 3, it's barrels, you know, and then combine your scores from the different breaks. And I think the opportunities are almost endless. But Nathan Riverland, of course, works at the Tide Marine wave pool. Is there a bit of tit for tat there, Nathan? I mean, is that your poon pool any good, mate, or no good compared to Tullamarine?
I'm not entirely sure because I've only just watched videos online of the Yeppoon one. It does look epic, and I think it'd be good if they opened it up to the public. Like it's worked amazingly in Melbourne, and you know everyone seems to froth it. So, and also running a comp in the pool, we ran the first one in Australia. Probably when was it, March, just before COVID, and the success and everything that we got from that and the coverage was amazing. So I think that's definitely something they should run with up there.
Now, there was longboarders in that event, but I think no one's done a longboard only wave pool event yet. So we can still do the Oz Longboarding Classic. Maybe it's a 2 event. Shawnee, get onto it, mate.
Yeah,
I
have approached them up there early on in the piece about doing a longboard event, and that sort of at that stage they were just going, it's not going to be open to the public, so that they had no interest. By the sound of it, things might be changing, but we were looking at a proposal where, you know, sort of you could have your surfer, you know, you were talking about doing a different style of surfing each day, because you got all these waves pumping out at the same time. You could be having like 8 surfers up and riding, and if you could follow somebody around, if you had a fan club, they'd follow you from surfing the nose riding section, and then you'd go round to the tube riding section. They'd follow you around type thing, so they could see everything happening, or they might just want to sit there and watch everybody come through the tube riding section. And it's set up for party time as well. Yeah, sort of having bands and having a big social life. But you could run an excellent comp, and you could get through a heap of surfers in a very quick period of time.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about other animals appearing in the lineup and so forth. You don't have to worry about flat days. How often do they actually are you able to not run at Agnes? Because, I mean, everyone talks about, you know, you go there sometimes and 9 times out of 10 there's no waves. But for a contest that's been running for so long, is there ever been years where it's been, there's just nothing? Or is there always a wave around there somewhere?
There's always a wave, I think, you know, over the 22 years. Like, if you look at it like this, there's been 3 years that have been tiny, and that was like last year, and the year before that, and then the year before that. So, like, basically we've had waves the whole run. And if you look at we really work big on the weather system here. We went through like a lot of years of drought, and it seems like we get no surf when we get, you know, fires and droughts, but we're actually coming back to a big wet season. So we've actually had a lot of roll of swell lately. It only just died out on Monday, but we had like 2 weeks of an easterly that just kept coming every day for the last 2 weeks. And, you know, that point hasn't got the right banks at the moment, but when that creek busts open with some more rain, it'll be on.
Now, people might hear you talk and sort of go, yeah, whatever, like it's comparing seasons and all the rest of it. But I was kind of amazed during the event to sit there and listen to you sort of predict what was going to happen in the next 10 minutes time and 15 minutes time. And you hit the nail on the head about 99% of the time. And so you obviously know that area, and you pay a lot of attention to the wind and the swell. But and the tides, of course, up there as well. But what's it like up there for surf forecasting side of things? Has it got much coverage, or you just been there that long now? You just know.
We have to go off a few sites. I go with Willie. Some of the other boys go with other ones. The Bureau of Meteorology, like you can get some kind of reading off there, but wind finder can be pretty accurate to the point of the size of the wave. Not sure about magic seaweed. They could be a little bit out. But yeah, forecasting is something like if we know we're going to get an east to northeast swell or easterly swell, we're at the beach. You know, you'll see the locals will keep working, but if there's an easterly swell, they'll be down there at lunchtime having a break and having a wave, that's for sure.
Yeah, just
but
to explain
for the, and they won't.
Just to explain for the viewers who haven't been up there, any swell from the south gets blocked off by Fraser Island, basically, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So Agnes Water Main Beach is actually a northern facing beach. So and the point's actually suitable for an east to northeast swell. That's where it'll line up the most on. And obviously no wind like anywhere along the east coast or an offshore wind. But with a southeaster, if it blows hard enough and a little bit of groundswell in there, then, you know, it'll work as well. But if it's just a big south-southeast wind, we pretty well go straight past us. You can actually see it. So
did Cyclone Omar pick up anything for you, or was that one that went right past?
No, yeah, we got a short period of swell off that, like, you know, probably not even 24 hours or a bit more, but there was one moment where it really peaked, you know. But I actually creased my classic Mel in that swell. It got pretty big at one day there, and I got just pressured down, and it just, you know, it was probably shouldn't have taken off on that wave, but yeah, I just went for it and creased her. But that's what happens.
Can't not.
Kerry turned one of her longboards into two shortboards just recently as well, mate. She knows the pain. Sorry, Sean, what did you say?
Tell me, Whitey, you said there's the shortboard club further to the north. Are you guys the most furthest north surf comp in Australia? Hold on, I think I might have lost connection.
Yeah, no, you're still there.
Sorry, ask your question again, Sean. You kind of glitched out for me there as well.
Yeah. I was hoping it wasn't me.
No, it's Sean this time.
It was me, yeah.
In Queensland.
Queenslanders.
Yeah, mate, hey. The NBN rollout didn't quite get to our street.
No.
Yeah, what I was asking was, you said that you've got the shortboard club up the road, and do they run a major event, or are you the furthest north, the club that runs a proper inter-club event?
You know, we're the furthest that runs major events, but, you know, they obviously have their little club events.
Yeah.
They're having a nice little comp that I'm going to go up in November. It's in respect to one of their friends. I didn't actually know the guy who passed away, but they're having a little comp, and they do little things like that. But yeah, the Agnes Water Longboard Classic is the most northern, you know, in that scale of competition this way. But that's why I'd like to probably maybe push one that way as well, you know, like, because the area, it's a great area up there, but you'd have to time it in the right season, otherwise you could totally miss out. And that's where I said if the wave pool opened to public, then you'd be safe. But
now, I don't know if Sean knows already that you're coming for his job, Whitey, but you were telling me the other day you were actually doing your event management training at the moment. Does everyone know about that, or am I letting the cat out of the bag?
No, that's okay. Yeah, I'm going to do an event manager's course very soon. It probably might not start till after Chrissy. Yeah, and that's just, I've got a few other things in mind as well. I want to run a festival up here in Agnes too, like an educational one. So it's all going to be joined together with seawater, and that's the whole understanding of it. And then, like, the idea of it all is the youth up here is with all our proceedings that we make out of any of these events, is all going to start a youth development program for this small town of Agnes. But I could say the small town, she's actually starting to grow. The little sleepy days of Agnes Ward, I'm hoping it's not over, but it's starting to get busy.
Now,
Real busy.
Sean mentioned in his little write-up he put on Facebook there that people come to Agnes Water and they come to check the surf and they just never leave. Now, I know two very good friends of mine. One of them, Squally, is at the surf hire on the beach where you work, and another one, I'm not sure if he would mind me telling people where he is or not. I'm going to roll the dice. Jeff Fanning, one of Australia's best logger surfers, has recently moved to Agnes. Now, I want to know, have you seen Jeff in the surf? Because he was all over surf and all the rest of it, and I was nagging him to go surfing. Have you seen him down on the beach at all?
No, I haven't seen Jeff in the surf yet, but I did see him like pass by, because I know another lad here. I don't know the lad's name off by hand, but I've seen them two, and we're having a little chat, and then off they went. But with Swally, he loves it here. And yes, I do work for him, and I said I'd give him a little plug. Lazy Lizard Surf Schools is going really well at the moment, and lots of people are learning the surf.
So Lazy Lizard Surf School is the one that's right on the beach there at the caravan park. But for those of you who are going to Agnes, and I know some of you should, if it's even remotely in your travel plans, if you're a Queenslander, get up there while you can't go anywhere else. As a West Australian, it'd be horrific if you're a Queenslander and you haven't been there, and I have, and I'm from the other side of the world. But Whitey, when people rock up there for the first time, what's the words that describe Agnes? It's like, I think Sean, actually, I got some good footage of Sean saying it's just like Byron Bay and Noosa 20 years ago. Do you reckon that holds water?
30 years ago.
30 years ago.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, you'd have to push it 30 years ago, Sean.
Sorry?
Definitely would have to say 30 years ago, wouldn't we?
Yeah, mate, it's just so chilled up there. I couldn't get over it. I like the fact that there was no airs and graces with anyone. Sort of you went in to get something from the cafe, and they just, even though I'd just been there 5 minutes, they spoke to you as though you'd been there all your life. Go down in a couple of shops and the proprietor would be sitting outside in bare feet, things like that. And you just go, how cool is this? And the thing that's got me too is I can't get over how many people I know that have gone there to live. And, everyone from Brucey Palmer, Chris DeBoitz, they're there. The girl that was my actual 2IC for years, Katie, she's up there as well. And they go to the town, they just fall in love with it.
It's easy to see why, though, because you've got the amenities, you've got a decent sized town, city, not that far away in Bundy. That's like, you've got somewhere to go and do some decent sized shopping and white goods and things. It's not in the middle of nowhere once you're there. It's a long way away when you're somewhere else. But I really love that small town vibe. But the surf shop is what I started to say before, because Squally, how are you, mate? So you've got a few surf schools and things around town. The surf shop, the surf school is based in a cafe, which is, I haven't seen that before, but it's a very good common sense joining of the two. What's that cafe called?
Yeah, it's called Cody's. At the moment, Swally's, the cafe's got really busy, so moved the surf school over into a house that he's in, which is in a business area. It's in the main street. So it's operating the business out of a house, and it's going very, very well out of there. It's like a really good idea, and got a tent set up, and everyone comes there, and it's a really good meeting spot, and you can hire boards, and down the beach we go.
So at his actual house with the across the road from the caravan park. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because it's in a business zone. It's in a business zone, so he's in all rights to hire it and all, and he's through Surfing Queensland now with his coaching, so.
Unreal. And Squally
Yeah.
is former West Australian. I think everywhere Squally's lived, everyone tries to claim him. Everyone in Margaret River's like, come back to Margaret River. But champion of a lad. What I was actually going to say was, if you go to that cafe where the surf school is to hire a board or whatever, if you go to Cody's place, the cafe there where the business was, sorry, why are you just updating my information? You've got to make sure that the mum's there. How's the serving sizes?
Sorry, what was? Oh.
So the mum. So when the mum's cooking, the about 3 times as much food comes out on the plate.
Yeah.
Those great cooking and big serves, but when you see mum behind the kitchen pantry or the shelf there, that's the time to go. So another one of your big sponsors, a big part of your event was the gathering beforehand. And so for each of the 3 different competitions that run over the 6 days, there's a meet and greet, a sign in. Is that just so the guys on the board can have lots of palmies at the pub, or is it just seemed to be a really good thing for the camaraderie, and of course acknowledging the fact that not everyone's there for all 3 events, so that there's a g'day and a welcome and a goodbye again for each of those 3. It must get emotionally draining for you.
So like you said, it is very draining. We do a meet and greet on a Wednesday night at the Agnes Water Tavern, and all the North of Fraser, the local guys, they get their show bag and, you know, the program, so they know what heat they're going in the next day and all that stuff. And then down the beach we go and set up pretty early. We're all involved. We're all one big unit. Like most of you know how a competition goes. There's a lot of stuff in it. It used to be a big field, but obviously North Fraser, we can knock it all off in one day, which is good. And up on the screen there, you can see the banner off of that was well designed. I like how you did that, Weeksy, how the logos come out.
Off section of the Agnes Water Longboard Classic. We're at the Agnes Water Tavern, and we're up here to hand out bags for all the guys in the competition tomorrow in North Fraser.
So Boomerang, bring your own bag.
So there you go. There's plenty more.
Even the Boomerang bags, I thought that was I'll just turn the audio off the video. But I even thought the Boomerang. Just talk us through that, because that was a really great. I thought that's a really good thing you've introduced into the contest.
With the show bag, with all the stuff in the bag.
Well, the bags themselves, the Boomerang bag. Talk us through that concept.
Well, that was you know, we got an environmental group up here, and they've each year they've always donated their stuff through, like, you know, on Saturday and Sunday they walk the whole beach and pick up all the rubbish and stuff like that. And also they sponsored all the bags, but they get them done from all the ladies in town who all go for muffins and a cup of tea, and they all get together and they sew old, like, curtains and, you know, sheets and whatever, and put them all together. So it's like a recycle.
Like, so the whole the Boomerang bag, the whole idea is bring it back, and so like use it back next time. And I
hope so.
I ended up getting, I think, five different bags, and I've given a couple of them as gifts, and just I just thought that was great that the local community doing something. You know, like, it's easy to have recycling bins and things, but to go and actually use things and make something else out of it and then turn it into something that's it's helping people. I don't know, it just made me think while I was there that keep the place looking nice. And as you can see, looking back from the water, it was good fun to get out there. It was actually overcast and rain showers and things, and there's the Blue Mantis himself, the Adam Hansen. But not being out there in the water, it's nice and warm. Do you ever end up having to wear a wetsuit at Agnes at all?
Oh, some people do. I never do. I always just wear a 2 mil, you know, like a hot top or whatever you call them.
I'm looking at Nathan's face while you say, "Oh, you haven't got a wetsuit."
But when I coach, I wear just a sort of like a spring suit, because that's not doing as much. But no, I don't really need a wetsuit up here.
There's old
but obviously,
doing the surf.
Yeah, he's doing a lesson there. Some of that footage before was when that southeaster come through, Weeksy, and picked the surf up a bit and brought a bit of rain with it.
And it's amazing how quickly it changes throughout the day. I mean, all this footage for anyone who's watching, this is all taking place in one day, the Thursday. And it's so that you can see there's squalls out the back there. I'm back in the tent because it was raining so hard at some points. You can't always see it in the footage, and that's just the nature of the beast when you're filming. But so certainly I had to turn the audio off because it was just the rain pitter-pattering on the roof. But how often does it change, like 6, 7, 8 times in a day? That'd be something like the Victorians are used to. The Melbourne weather, I reckon, don't like it, wait for half an hour. It felt a bit like that. Is that normal?
No, not really. Like, generally, like, when it gets right into that wet season, if it's going to rain, you pretty well might as well say it's going to rain all day. But obviously, when a southeaster comes, you can get them scattered showers up the coast, and sometimes they can be a hit and miss, you know. So, but yeah, no, it's that Melbourne weather, Nathan can have that 4 seasons in one day. So.
Yeah, that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, put a jumper on Nathan and take it off, and put it back on and take it off.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
I remember living in Victoria, and you'd go out with a jumper, a singlet, an umbrella, Wellington boots. It was literally like you had to prepare for everything. Whereas up at Agnes that time of the year in March, certainly that's the only time I've been there. But it was very pleasant in the water. You can see the Will and free surfing, and they've got they're just out there in boardies. And even though it was raining, it was really kind of pleasant just to be floating around and looking back at that. There's no, you can't really see much in the way of development right by the water's edge.
No.
Looking back from, totally different to being on the Gold Coast. You're in the shadows of the high rise. That was a fake of 5. I noticed you did a couple of those as well, Whitey. I didn't include any slow-mos, but I saw a couple there where you weren't quite toes over. Might have to have a chat with Kira about how to get that full wraparound thing going on.
Now, tell me, Whitey, with the fact that you're that far north, do you have any issues with stingers, during the season or, and I'm not talking blue bottles, I'm thinking of things that are a lot more dangerous?
Yeah, well, Sean, like, obviously blue bottles are right along the east coast. We do get these little purple jellies. I'm pretty sure they do on the sunny coast. Maybe Kira can answer that. They're like a fire jelly. They give a bit of a rashy feeling. We have had irukandji. The 19 years I've been here, it's happened twice. And it happened pretty well in 2005 and then straight away again. But that was because we had about 15 to 16 straight weeks of northerly.
Okay, so...
And then they were experiencing the irukandji, like, Mackay were getting stings, and then Tannum Sands, Yeppoon, and then come Christmas, we had them. And it actually wasn't very good for the old Chrissy holidays because the beaches were closed.
So, yeah, just a rarity. I just wondered whether, it might have been something that was a bit more common. Thank God it's not.
No. Once in the whole 19 years I've been here. I was just watching Glenn Cunningham there in the over 50s with some nice style surfing he's got. He's a Bundaberg boy. In the red rashy there.
Yeah, him and his sons used to travel a fair bit to comps all around the place.
Yes.
Is that the Cunninghams?
Yes.
Yes.
I've got knocked out of so many competitions by him over the years. He always manages to extract a score. He gets the nose right in, even in tricky conditions like this. And you did pretty good yourself, I must admit, big fella. I'll give you a hard time because you beat me in our division. But you surf pretty good in some tricky conditions. And it really does. It's a test of a good surfer to be able to find those good waves in amongst the rough as well. And so when the conditions are less than perfect, I think you really do. You end up with a very worthy champion at the end of the day. But it wasn't very serious. There's a few of the boys looked like they wanted bragging rights from each other, but the North of Fraser part of the event seemed pretty lackadaisical.
It's fun, but when it gets down to the gritty, it always ends up with the sort of around that same sort of 6. Well, in the last 3 years, it's always been the same sort of 6 to 8, and it gets down to the final. And obviously, you're not winning it again. I've got it this year, and there's a bit of that talk, but most of it's all joke, But, and it's fun. It's a fun competition. Like, everyone knows when they come here. I've had lots of phone calls already, and people that have never been to it, but they're trying to get in and enter now because they don't want to miss out. So I just like to put it out there to everyone, like, in the old days, we used to do entry forms and it used to go back to the same competitors. Obviously, them days are over. We got a website now, and you can either log in agneswaterlongboardclassic.com or you can just go seawater.com. Both will get you there, and the entry forms will be up there shortly. We're just going through a few little issues and a few little bumps, but it'll definitely be up there soon. And I think most people understand that due to COVID and all what's gone on this year and stuff like that. So,
do you have particular dates yet, Whitey, or you're figuring that out still?
No, we always, as you know, Kerry, we always want to follow Noosa.
Yeah.
Noosa sort of gave some dates, but not totally sure what they're doing. Whether they know themselves, it's not my place to go there. But I'm going to stick with Plan A and stick with my dates with the 16th to the 21st. So 16th and 17th will be the Prologue, and then right through to the 21st, which is Sunday of March.
All right. Here's hot off the press about Noosa.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, mate. I had meetings today, had a bit of a chat with Will Hayden-Smith, and the WSL will not be taking up the third year of the pro part of the Noosa Festival. So,
Wow.
yeah, I asked him if I could mention it, and he said, yep, no problem. So,
purely from a rumour mill point of view, though, apparently there's a Prologue event that's normally in May that looks like it's going to be getting moved to the normal Noosa time, so it'll be the week before the Agnes Water Classic. So if you're a logger, it seems like March is going to be a very exciting month for you.
Yes.
But not the WSL. Everyone just went quiet on me there. Am I wrong on that, Sean? So the WSL Pro event won't be happening in March. Is that guaranteed? Sean, picking a good time to glitch out, Sean.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, I lost my connection. I don't know what's happening with the Noosa Festival amateur side and loggers or anything. It was just that Will did say that there's no WSL.
All right. Well, I won't say who my source is then, just in case. But I got told, and I got told it was a rumor. I didn't get told it was a fact. Yeah. I got told it was a rumor that there's a comp that's normally on in May that's looking at being moved to March, so it lines up as Noosa Fest.
Weeks, are you talking about the Noosa Logger?
Possibly.
That runs in May, yeah?
Yeah, so apparently they're looking at moving the Noosa Logger so that it ends up the week before Agnes.
Oh, well, there'll be a lot of logging going on.
So that way, what I'm saying, the Prologue at Agnes will probably get bigger and bigger as well. And I think like a few of the Hawaiians definitely said, I mean, it depends on whether it's international travel by then, but I know a few of the Hawaiian guys that you spoke to at the Noosa Festival were saying, oh, gee, if they'd known, they would have stayed for that extra week so they could go to Agnes. But they'd already booked their flights and things, so that wasn't possible.
Yeah.
So,
well, I actually went around and handed little business cards out and stuff and got them all interested, but like you just said, but you know, they got my number and my email for 21 and, you know, obviously they'll be keen because they've heard a lot about it and it was a good response from them saying that they've heard about the surfing up there and how the point operates and all that. So that's correct. My feeling is that, you know, Agnes Longboard Classic is only going to grow, you know. It's gone from a 2-day event to a 3-day event to 4 and now to a 6. So, you know, it's already grown now. So,
yeah, unreal. And I think it's a great opportunity as well for the content producing people. Having done a bit of filming and surfing and stuff myself, if you're a competitor who needs to get some footage or photos and things for your sponsors, or just to fulfill commitments, or you just want to increase your profile or whatever. Some fantastic little spots that aren't that very far away from the contest area where you can go and disappear and go get some amazing shots in a beautiful environment.
Yeah, well, 1770, like, there's only 2 places in Queensland. I'm not sure about the East Coast. Someone can back me here in the crowd if they know, where you can actually see the sunset. And here is it. So, in the afternoon, as the sun goes down, you get a beautiful sunset over the bay. And then there's another little place up near Mackay there called Sunset Bay. But this is bigger. So, and like you're saying, the environment around here is absolutely beautiful. Like, I think we were talking before we logged on that, we had whales going past when I was doing a surf school today. So, like, not only did they get a bit of a buzz standing up, they get to see some whales just out in the ocean in front of them. So, this place has got, and the weather's just beautiful. I did Google it once. People might say I'm wrong, but I remember reading it that they said that Agnes water is on the same wavelength and the same weather as Hawaii. So that's where your energy comes from and why people come here, and they just get that all year round. It's not too cold, and it's, it gets hot, but yeah, the weather's pretty nice. So
yeah, I could certainly see myself getting stuck up there and not leaving if I was in a situation to do that. And I think it's one of the few places where I could honestly say, if there was absolutely dead flat and no surf, there's so much to go and see and do. I mean, I ended up in the end, because of other things going on, I had to get back to the Gold Coast quicker than expected, but I was going to spend an extra week up there looking around, and managed to, in a day and a half kind of thing, zoom around and see, the big anchor on the hill, and there's the point, and there's the tidal flats, and there's the yachts. And I didn't get to go in the big boat truck thing. What are they called? The rubber ducky truck things?
Yeah, the lark.
Larks?
They're called the lark, and they go across the sandbars and up to the lighthouse and stuff like that and do sunset tours.
Yeah.
The Germans invented them in the war, the duck.
Yeah, the aqua duck. That's why when I was in the Air Force, we used to call them ducks, but they weren't fluorescent pink when I was in the Air Force. But so there's like so much to, and there's fishing charters, and there's obviously the usual stuff, golf courses and that sort of thing. But beautiful place to just go and park near the river and sit and fish with the family. I mean, it's just a really good place to go. Even if there were no waves, I think I could see myself spending a bit of time there. I just realised there's box in the background here, so that's for you, Nate. I've got a case of Corona. I'm in my friend's caravan annex in Lancelin. I've come up from Perth a couple of weeks ago, and due to various car issues and things, I'm still here. Left the beard trimmer charger cable at home, and had to come around my mate's place to borrow his Wi-Fi so I could do the show.
Funny, I was looking through all the shows, all the videos, and you can just see the evolution of your beard. 6 weeks, and it's just like, I was pointing it out with my girlfriend last week. We're going, oh, have a look at this, and he's going, every week it's getting more and more girth.
One of my cousins in Port Macquarie, he is a bit of a beard fan, and he reckons I've got a good one. It grows pretty quick, but I find it pretty annoying. But anyway, we'll find the charging cable at some point. I've got to go back down to Perth and drop off some wax. Speaking of wax, Sean, apparently you had a winner for the Huey's Choice Surf Wax question of the week last week.
Last week, when we asked for people to actually write in and tell us who they thought were the best longboarders over the last 20 years, sort of high performance loggers, female under 21s, and tell us why. Now, we had a hell of a lot of people tell us who they thought, but didn't back it up with why they did. But there are a couple that stood out. Highly commended was one from Chris Taylor. He reckoned Jodie Barsby, when she came on the scene, she opened up a whole new generation of interest for both females and Indigenous surfers. I thought that was a pretty good answer. And shouts out to you, Jodie. We've got to get you on the show sooner rather than later.
Yes.
Champion. And the one that I've picked to be the winner comes from Phil Morgan. He said, over the past 20 years in the logger, Dane Peterson he's had all the style, but he reckons Devon Howard for influence, which, outside of it all, it's a pretty good answer because, Devon really has been controlling the direction of longboarding the last few years with his role with WSL. In the high performance, he said Bonga, he does it all with the traditional Hawaiian style. In the women's, Cassia Meador for style and long-lasting influence. And his pick in the under 18s, 21s over the past 20 years, he reckon Chono. Matty. Did he first throw
Matty's not on this week, so no, that can't be right. So, no, Matt did send his apologies, by the way, viewers, because I know a lot of Matt's fans tune in each week, but Matt's flat out at work, probably because of the episode we did the other week about surf wagons. So he's going to win because he actually gave some decent answers. We didn't really go into the influence side of things. Actually, that's interesting. So, yeah, I like that. So, what was his name?
Phil Morgan. So
Phil Morgan's
details and
fire us a message on Messenger or whatever with the details, and I'll send you out a 4-pack of the Huey's Choice Surf Wax. So tropical, warm, cool, and cold.
There were just so many great answers. Yeah, it was. It really came down to who gave the best reason as to why, and there was influence from everywhere.
Yep. And look, seriously, if we ran the show this week and we ran it again in another 3 weeks, I reckon at least 75% of my answers would have changed. And that's, I think that's a really good thing. We're not in a sport where there's 1 or 2 people that are actually fun to watch or interesting to see perform or go through their careers. I think there's so many to choose from. And what I really liked about that episode was the fact that we didn't all just go, oh, best guy, best girl, which in some sports would be the case. But Whitey, who was your picks, mate, quickly? Best longboarder you've seen, male and female.
Best longboarder?
Yep.
Oh, can I go back? I'd have to go with midget.
Just 20
last 20 years.
Oh, I'd have to go with Ray Gleave and his drop knee.
Mate, I actually was sitting here thinking, I hope you say Ray Gleave. That's epic. Because got to be honest with you, folks, I haven't seen Ray for a while, but I've known him for a long time. I haven't seen him for a couple of years. And to see him to be parked next to him at the caravan park at Agnes Water and watching him take out 9-foot longboard, 10-foot longboard, 11-foot longboard, 10-foot sup, everything he got out of the car, or out of the van, I should say, and he was there out at the point when the point was breaking for those windows. On the smaller days, you're only breaking for that perfect window in the tide, but he was out there and surfing well, surfing strong, clean, that drop knee bottom turn. I'm with you there, Whitey. Yeah. I reckon he's one of my favourites. I didn't see him in his prime, but I reckon his prime's right now, to be honest. But great answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who we got on next week, Sean?
Next week, Tom Avery. Okay, for those that don't know Tom, he's been an ASP WSL competitor for a long time. I think it's been a few years now since he competed, probably about 3 as such. He lives down northern New South Wales, and he's right into his creative music. He goes under the moniker of Black Boy. He's part Indigenous, part Kiwi, and a fantastic surfer, fantastic person. So it's Tom Avery, and I think a lot of the crew will know him, especially because he's been all around Australia for a long time.
Name rings a bell.
Having a chat. Yeah, no, I think he's been in Kingscliff a couple of times for the Also, if I remember
definitely.
Right. But,
I first met him 20 years ago travelling. He was pretty tight with Michael Cottier for a while there.
Okay.
Right thing. So
nice one.
Just one other thing while we've still got Whitey there, mate. One of the things that I was amused about and quite liked was the relationship you guys have got with McLee and the senile board riders. No one's brought that up. Now, can you tell us just a little bit about it before we wind up?
Yeah, well, back in the days, Mick and Julie Lee, we used to have, when they come and approach back, when it first started, I was just a support worker. And they come up with this idea as a senile award where if someone, walked out with the wrong rashie on or no rashie and they went to paddle out or in the wrong heat or something like that, they got jotted down for a senile award because Mick and Julie Lee in Newcastle supported like dementia, and whatever money they raised, it went towards that. So they formed a club called the Senile Board Riders. And they had these shirts with an old fella on the back of a walking stick riding the board, and it was pretty cool. And Mick and Julie were a big part of the competition through that, and they used to help pack bags. They knew the system. They were always in it. And then unfortunately we lost Julie, and it was one of her wishes to support the contest. So Mick gave me a ring last year and said, I want to be a big sponsor. And he is again next year as well. So definitely take my hat off to Mick and Julie for sure. They've been involved for a long time. And thanks for bringing that up, actually, Sean.
Yeah, and for those wondering, Mick's the one in the video there in the judges' tent poking his tongue out. And
yeah.
I just want to go on the record as well. I've got video evidence of judges cheating over each other's score sheets and things too. So, but mate, I want to say well done on a great event. I go to a few of them in various capacities, and I had a really good time. I felt really welcome, and you guys put on a great show. The most amount of stuff and the most show bags and shirts and stickers and stuff I've had ever, I think. But mostly it was just about the vibe. And I know people say that and it doesn't mean anything, but I think you can tell a lot about a competition by the percentage of the competitors who are still there when it's time for the prezzo. And one of the things I like seeing up there was people staying for the whole day, watching, cheering on their fellow competitors, their mates from down the road or whatever. And then just about everyone was at the pub afterwards. Obviously, if you can make to hit the road and get back for work or pressing commitments, but those who had the time hung around and shared the experience. And I think that's a good indication that you'll be around for a long time to come. So on behalf of everyone who went along that I spoke to, certainly thank you for everything you've done and continue to do. And well done to the whole Seawater Inc. board and everyone who gets involved in helping out. Because, Sean, you know as well as anyone, mate, it's not without all those helpers and everyone getting everything done, these things just cannot happen.
Well, it's the community, whether we call it New Zealand whānau, in Hawaii or Hana, it's all the family of surfers that get together and all help each other. And, it's not just going surfing, it's doing everything together.
Yeah, exactly.
Camaraderie, as Dunny would say. Peter Dunn loves that word, camaraderie, but he can never say it. I think in about 20 years of the whalebone, I think he's managed to rip it out correctly once. But it's always fun to listen to. But camaraderie was what it was all about. So
I think sorry, Wiki.
Oh no, that's all right. I was just going to say I think we should do an episode of Oz Longboarding on the Thursday night for next year's comp. Obviously, we'll share all the dates and things on our Facebook, and also those couple of videos that I've run tonight, plus actually the main videos which have the best surf in it. Will be now. The first two are already up on our YouTube channel. They're set to private. I'm going to set them to public straight after the show here, so you can click onto our YouTube channel and watch it. And I'll share it on the Facebook page as well. But getting on the YouTube channel and clicking like and subscribing is actually really useful to us to track who's watching the videos and who's actually enjoying the show. But Whitey, thanks heaps for coming on and having a chat, mate. And good luck that everything goes from strength to strength. Is there anything else you needed to get out to our viewers before we let you go?
No, just basically watch that spot on the website for when the entries are up, because I think we're going to pretty well get hammered because there hasn't been a lot of longboard comps. So, and now it's coming up nearly straight up in March. I think we're going to get a lot of competitors. So the word's out. So watch that spot on agneswaterlongboardclassic.com and we'll actually throw it out on Facebook, and I'll sling you some dates. And if you can do us a favour, you can throw it out there when the entry forms are up, if you don't mind.
Mate. We'll share it to the Oz Longboarding page for sure and get it out there to our multitude of connections. I reckon Kira could probably fill the comp just with her mates from the from the surf at Noosa. But
well, Kira did a great job. She's telling everyone. So Thank you for that, Kira. Last year's logger, you're getting it out there for me as well.
Just, Kira, if you're going to bring along someone with you next year, make it someone who's not going to knock you out of your heat. But look, it's been a pleasure, and wherever you're joining us from around the world, thanks for joining us. This has been episode 19 of Oz Longboarding. That's Whitey, or it might be over there or over there. We're in Brady Bunch mode, and how it looks on my screen is different to how it looks on yours. But thanks for joining us, Whitey. Cheers, Sean, Kira, and Nath, and hopefully next week we'll have our Byron Bay and Sydney correspondents back. But in the meantime, that's Oz Longboarding. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
I never talk